Hi, everybody. This is Silvio Canto in Dallas, Texas on Friday, August the 16th. And we'll always have to check the calendar. And welcome to our commentary. It's very hot here in North Texas. It's going to be that way for several days. So if you're coming to North Texas, make sure you bring, well, don't bring too much to wear, something light and summer-like. And wherever you go, whether it's a hotel or somebody's home, uh, spend some time in the swimming pool. I think you'll appreciate your swimming pool quite a bit this time of the year. Well, just a quick point. I have a post over at the American Thinker today. You can read it at americanthinker.com. It's usually on the right-hand side. That's where my stuff usually ends up. And it's about what is happening on the border, where just in the last 2 or 3 weeks, we captured 3 terrorists. Now, these are people who were on the terrorist list. So they were not suspects. I mean, these were people that we already had put on the list. And then we also captured one in New Mexico. And of course, this is just further evidence that when you have open borders, people come in. I mean, that's just the nature of the game. And the bad guys know that. They know where your vulnerabilities are. They study them, they pursue them. And if they see an open border and an opportunity to come into the country, they're going to do it. They're going to do it. Again, as I mentioned, I think it was in yesterday's video, 99% of the people who come are not terrorists. Everybody knows that. But the question is, if we're not vetting people on the border or before they get there, well, we'll have incidents like this. And if we captured 3 or 4, then we probably missed a few. I mean, that's just the reality of the numbers. So once again, we see the importance of having a border policy that is in the interest of the United States, not in somebody else's interest. Well, let's talk a little bit about Vice President Harris. Friday night, she's going to deliver, I guess, her first big speech. It's going to be economics. And, what we're hearing is that she's going to go after companies, more or less, price gouging, as they call it, terrible companies who are making huge profits. This is so much garbage. I just don't know how else to say it. And it's hard for me to believe that people will actually believe this, but I guess some of them will. That somehow the government is going to tell companies what their profit margins should be, not the reality of the marketplace. That you're going to have companies or the government saying, if you're in the food industry, then your profit margins should be this. If you're in the oil industry, then your profit margin should be this. If you're an automobile maker, then your profit margin should be this. And we're going to use the government, the agencies of the federal government, to guarantee all of this. First of all, this will never get to first base, assuming she proposes this. It'll never get to first base because the minute they do something like this, it'll end up in the courts, and the courts will throw it out. We don't live in a country where you tell private industry what they can charge. The price is set by the marketplace, the consumers. That's why we have so much competition in our country, because companies compete with each other for customers. And one of the ways they do it is obviously through service, but also through the price. So, I mean, this is such an insane idea coming from a lady who I don't know if she in her life has ever had any private experience. I don't think she has. She's been basically, getting a government paycheck her entire life. Nothing wrong with that. I mean, I'm knocking that. A lot of good people spend their whole life in the public sector. But if you're going to start lecturing to companies about profit margins, you should at least have some idea of what you're talking about. I don't think she does. But I think the larger picture is important here. And I have a post about this coming out Saturday, where I think what we're seeing here is Kamala Harris in her first 2 big major decisions as a nominee for president. Her first big major decision, of course, was a VP, Mr. Tim Walz, who was not the best choice. He was not what most experts thought would be the choice. They thought it would be Shapiro because he made a lot more electoral sense. Now we know what happened there with Shapiro. elements in the Democrat Party said, no way, you cannot nominate a Jewish vice president because that may cost you votes here and there. So they nominated Tim Walz, who is about as liberal as they get. Now, he's got other problems, by the way, the military thing, and he's got other issues as well. But in terms of the electoral map, he doesn't bring you anything that you don't already have. You know, you already have Minnesota. You were supposed to have Minnesota. So, but nevertheless, you know, she selects a running mate from the left of the party. She doesn't go to the right or to the center like the governor of Kentucky or Shapiro. She nominates somebody from the left. She doubles down basically on this being a left of center ticket. So that's her first decision, And then her second decision, which is her first big speech, turns out to be, you know, something out of the, I don't know what book this is from, but it's the old story about, you know, we're going to go after the rich because we're going to give you, I guess, $25,000 for first-time home buyers. We're going to help you with the down payment, $25,000. And how are we going to pay for this? Well, we're going to tax the rich. Of course, we're just going to tax the rich. And we're going to give you a $25,000, I guess, bonus or something to buy your first house. Of course, the problem is not, I mean, the reality is it's not so much the down payment. The problem these days, the real problem these days is the interest rates and the cost of homes. So, you know, giving somebody $25,000 sounds real good, but how do you do it? Who's going to pay for it? Where's it going to come from? You know, what program is she going to cut to make this happen? But this garbage, you know, we're going to make sure the rich are paying their fair share. We've heard that garbage before, and it's nothing but garbage. It's just the kind of socialist demagoguery that just doesn't work. And so, you know, it's the kind of thing. It's the kind of thing that you really wonder if they think we're that stupid. I guess they do. They think we're that stupid, that we're going to fall for this. And you know what? 43, 44, 45, maybe 46% of the population will, because she's going to get that no matter what happens. Now, a lot of that is because they hate Trump, and they're going to vote for her no matter what, or any Democrat, really, because they hate Trump. But, you know, some of it is frankly because they believe these things. I mean, if you talk to people in her rallies, you know, they're going to vote for her because she's going to protect your reproductive freedom. They're going to vote for her because she's going to be tough with the landlords, I guess. You know, she's going to be helping you and your on your university bank loan or whatever, and this is what they're voting for. And you know, these people, I guess, don't seem to understand how the U.S. government works. The president of the United States, President Biden, tried to do this college banking loan thing, and he's been rejected 3 times by the courts. The president of the United States doesn't have any authority to do anything about your landlord and the rent that you pay. I mean, that is between you and your landlord, or if your landlord is violating some rules or whatever, then you sue that landlord in a city court. The president of the United States doesn't get involved with that other than giving a speech. And then, of course, reproductive freedom, that's another one of their favorite topics. So what can the president of the United States do about your reproductive freedom? Nothing. The issue is already in the states. That's where it's going to be settled. So if you are concerned about reproductive freedom, you got to go to your state and have a discussion with your governor or your legislature, because that's where the issue is going to be settled. Now, if the Democrats want to pass an amendment to the U.S. Constitution and have it come from the House to the Senate and to the president could sign that proposal for an amendment to the U.S. Constitution, but then that has to go to the states. And you got to get 3/4 of the states to support that, and that's not going to happen. So this lady, her whole speech and everything about her is just telling people what they want to hear, or creating a false image that, you know, she is going to take out or somehow look out for you. And I think they're also doing something else, by the way. They're trying to, say, you know, we want to try something different, without obviously saying that the Biden-Harris administration has been a failure in the economy. So they're trying to play this game, of, yeah, things are really bad out there, but, we're going to make it better. Well, but who put us where we are? I guess they don't want us to talk about that, that. So it's like you have two Kamala Harrises. You have Kamala Harris, the vice president, who has suddenly disappeared. And now you have Kamala Harris, the presidential candidate, who's going to make your life feel better and take care of all your problems. I mean, I guess that's what their strategy is. And honestly, could it work? Yes, it could work. I mean, that's all I can tell you. It could work. Hopefully, there's enough conversation about this stuff and people can realize what a farce all of this is. Quick note, on this day, August the 16th, a couple of important people passed away on this day in history. 1948, Babe Ruth passed away. Now, he died very young, age 53. He died of cancer, and he died on this day. By the way, there's some great footage on YouTube of his funeral. I mean, thousands of people turned out in New York City to view his coffin, and then they had a tremendous funeral. And then also on this day in 1977, the great Elvis Presley passed away. He was only 42 when he passed away. But you think about that, Babe Ruth and Elvis Presley, not on the same year, of course, but passing away on August 16th. We remember a couple of the two really most prominent people of the 20th century, obviously Babe Ruth in baseball and Elvis Presley in rock music, two of the most popular and consequential people of the 20th century. Have a great weekend, everybody. This is Silvio Canto in Dallas, and we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye, everybody.